Well, let's get started here. Well, my first quote is from section 11.2.2. A good speaker is listening with both his or her eyes and ears to monitor the audience so that he or she can adapt. This means if your audience looks and acts bored or uninterested, the speaker must adjust his or her speaking to get the audience back in focus. If you ever done a presentation where you can tell people are not interested, this is really tough on you. So you need to do whatever you can to make sure they stay interested and focused throughout the whole presentation or your speech. And by ways of doing this is like the quote says, watch what your audience is doing. Understand that they may not be interested in what you're saying, so try to make whatever you're doing as interesting as possible, and keep everyone informed and engaged. Now here's another one. It's from 11.2.1. A crucial piece of information to know before any presentation is when your listeners expect you to conclude. This will help in keeping the audience interested, because they'll know how long they need to be engaged in what you're talking about. I think that was one of the best things. This should last about a half hour. I mean, that's all you really have to tell them, or it's going to be, hope you're ready. This is going to be like a 2-hour presentation. It's going to be interesting, enjoyable, and hopefully you gain the information out of them. My second from chapter 12 is from 12.2.3. Your face is the primary source of whatever specific emotion you communicate to your audience. The text goes on to say your audience sees your face before they hear what you're going to say. This means you should be prepared before you're going to announce bad news to your audience will know something's wrong even before you say a word. So when you're walking in, if you're like at a corporate function and you know there's going to be bad news, you should walk in there with a neutral look on your face. Not happy, not sad, but a little in between, or just a normal look on your face, because if people see something, they'll know something's wrong. And I've had to tell people bad news before, and it's real tough. So knowing how to approach your audience with your facial expression is very important to show what you want to say, but not actually show it before you say it. Now, my second quote from chapter 12, this quote is from Cicero, said that you could help your listeners experience the emotion you wish them to experience by displacing the emotion yourself. This is good advice for even back then, when people always expected bad news or something bad is going to happen to them, but it's also good advice for today. It goes along with the other quote that I use, but here's something. When I read this, first thing I thought of when I actually read this quote was, but you should also remember the Don Henley song Dirty Laundry. There's a verse in that song that says she can tell you about a plane crash with a gleam in her eye. So just because someone's telling you something you perceive as good news, just because the person is smiling or in a good mood, doesn't always mean it's good news. I mean, news reporters are always like, they try themselves by using their facial expressions if it's good or bad news, but they're also taught to stay neutral, as I used before, and just read the news as professionally as possible. So you gotta look at it both ways. So how people perceive it is one way to do it. Thank you, and have a good day.